Alright, so Sammy and I are gonna kinda co-present here. We don't have an OEM director just yet, still me. We do for sure, once we get that person on board, wanna have some input from them into, other goals, but we are gonna take a look at 25 goals. And then I believe Sammy identified some future goals that we'll wanna work on, knowing that these may be evolving as we have, a new director come on, we wanna give them the opportunity to have some input about the department. Sammy, did you have the 26 goals in here, or do you have them where you could share those? Okay, great. So I'll hit the 25 goals and then I'll let Sammy talk about, what she has kind of worked on for the 26 goals.
Okay.
So in 2025, the short-term goals were to support agencies in completing, the improvement projects outlined in the 2024 Interlochen Fire After Action Report/Improvement Plan by March 2025. Coordinate the completion of priority projects identified in the 2022 Community Wildlife Protection Plan and the 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan in collaboration with stakeholders, partner agencies, and grant funding. And then the last short-term goal is to host quarterly interagency trainings to educate and test staff on emergency operation center functions. I believe some work was done on each of these. I don't know if this one was fully wrapped up before Claire departed.
I don't know either.
Awesome.
Yeah. But for the third one, there was a lot of trainings and meetings and stuff. So in January, I think before January, we established a communications working group to address the recommended improvements in the Interlochen After Action Report. And then we meet every other month. And we are working on improving the Joint Communications Center standard operating procedure. And then in April, there was integrated preparedness workshop. In May, there's tabletop for alerts and warnings. In July, we have the Incident Command System 100 and 700 class with NOAA. And then in October, we're having the Emergency Operations Center and Incident Command System interface class. For next year, I put rebuild operational capacity just to re-engage with partners with our new department. And like continue to go to meetings and participate in preparedness and trainings. There's a lot. I kept close quarterly agency trainings to educate staff on the EOC functions. I think that's really important for our organization to continue to practice and see where our flaws and our good stuff is. So the third one is from last year or this year to support agencies in completing improvement projects. There's a few that did not get pieces from the improvement plan that did not get completed. So just kind of wrap those up and make sure agencies in charge of those are supported and completing those.
Long-term goals. I'll just let you share it, Sammy. Sorry.
So the first three are from this year. I think they still hold value. And for number two, like I said, I'm just not sure where I left off with that. So I'll need more time to kind of dig into that and make sure that that's been, I think that'll forever be ongoing to address mitigation. And then I think in 2026, the emergency operations plan is due for a full update. And then all the supporting annexes to that too.
Sammy, I'm so sorry. Could you speak up a little bit?
Oh yeah.
Thank you. No, I just have the fan right behind me.
No,
Thanks.
So the emergency operations plan is due for a full update in 2026, and that will forever be an ongoing updated document. And then I added to reinstate and conduct annual continuity of operations training with each department to strengthen continuity, recovery, and preparedness across county operations and the community. Mabel's did a really good job of making a extremely comprehensive coup plan. So I think she said it kind of fell off, like annual review and training kind of fell off in COVID. So really like to reinstate that and make sure everyone is up to date with what happens in case of an emergency, what to do and how to continue, so. And like Candace said, if the director has any input,
Guys have any questions? I think this is really good.
Oh, yeah. What about any goals around getting the community to engage in our plan and resilience within the community for emergency preparedness?
yeah, I think that's involved with, there's a host of plans and annexes and, community engagement opportunities, so that's definitely a high priority.
I'll to just shed a little light onto that.
Yeah.
Noah and I've talked about this quite a lot. While we want community engagement and feedback, like they shouldn't be outlining emergency operating plans. So we do wanna make sure they're involved in like, what's the best way to get it out to you guys? How can we make engaging and following this plan better? But he was pretty clear that we have to be really careful about there are certain statutory requirements to a plan and those need to be a little more internal and following, honestly, with your judgment for guidance. Or I certainly would in this role, but we're into the new OVA director as in their depth of experience. And then having kind of separate engagement where, you know, people can have some input about the best way to message, but to be really conscientious that there's a separation between what pieces can come from statute requirements and what pieces are community driven. And he did really bring that to the forefront for me because it's clearly
I mean,
experience.
I'm trying to get at like, how can the community be resilient? How does the Office of Emergency Management help the community be resilient in an emergency? Not how do they inform our plans, but how do we inform them of ours?
Yeah.
How do we inform them of our plans?
Yeah.
So that they can be partners in it, not just responding to what we tell them in the moment, but they can also be ready for various things. I guess that's where and I hear you, Sammy, that that's like gonna be in all of the plans, et cetera. I just don't see it as a separate goal, and to me it takes a separate effort.
Yeah.
Or focus, so that's what I was asking about. But maybe when we get more staff on board, we'll see where the strengths are to develop those goals.
In our interview questions, that's several of the interview questions focus on what kinds of plans would you have for engaging the community to make sure that they know what steps to follow before we're just in the middle of a crisis
Yes.
and
Yes.
then trying to message what to do.
Yes.
We have that pre-planning, but so it definitely is even though not documented here,
Yeah.
in goals is something that we're really asking that person to like do and lead and make sure they're good at working with and communicating to people the plans, because we recognize that the only time we pull out our plans is when we're in crisis mode. That's a great way to not be prepared, so it's definitely something we're focusing on in our interviewing of those individuals.
Awesome.
Do you have anything?
Sammy, stoked to have you in the OEM.
Oh, stoked to be here.
It's really cool to see that movement for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool, I don't have any other questions. Oh, I do feel like, when it comes to budgeting, this is one of the departments where we've lost a lot of money. And in my mind, the budgeting, we could be looking for how to actually, or lobbying our state and federal folks to actually try to reinstate this funding, because it's such a crucial department. So anyway, I'm glad you're in front of us to remind us of that.
That's one thing that we're still waiting on formal guidance on the OEM funding towards salaries, whether this, the funding exists, but the state has not given full guidance, I don't think yet, on whether we can fully accept it or not. Because there are a lot of other items tied to like compliance, that the Fed has kind of put into place to, and our state just isn't sure if they will be willing to accept, those criteria, and we don't even know what they are yet, so
Yeah.
it's not incredibly helpful. We're waiting to know, like, what is the criteria to accept this funding
Yeah,
to fund OEM salaries, but we know that this is really important for us to be prepared in the case of an emergency, so we.
so you're saying that the federal government has not released the criteria for how a state has to be the pass-through to the different organizations?
And our state is waiting to know exactly what those criteria will be before they accept it. Am I incorrect in saying that? I know we were waiting to hear back from NOAA on it, and I just don't think we have fully yet.
Okay. That's so dumb.
But that helps.
Certainly makes budgeting